Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome. Thank you for staying on. Here we are together on a Saturday talking about one of the biggest, most important issues for consumers around the world. So really appreciate your presence. My name is Helena. I have one of the best panels here during the whole EAT Forum for you. When I saw the title of this, I was a bit worried as a working mum that there is no time for convenience. I really need help. And in this session, we're talking about the realities of being in a food system where we all want, I think, raise your hand if you want access to healthy and sustainable food to be the simple default option. Raise your hand. That's, I think, the majority of you, or you're just sort of finishing off your coffee. Raise your hand if you do actually find it simple and easy to access healthy and sustainable food. There was somebody who tried to put their hand up. There's somebody over there. We're going to come and talk to you in a second, all right? So it's not easy. It is not simple. How do we change that food environment to make this simple and easy? How do we make it the default? And there are so many different ways in which we can do that, of course, it starts and ends with us. But there are many, many other ways in that environment that we can shift. Let's think about, where we find that food. Do we have access, food deserts, food swamps? Is it affordable when we get there? Is it at my eye line? Is it easy for me to grab as I try and sort of control a crying child? What information do I get at home on the packet, on my screen about healthy and sustainable diets? The packaging, does it help me? Do I know where to throw it away? Do I have access to, and on, and on, and on? So each of these things can be both a challenge and also an opportunity. And I haven't even started on that sort of system behind about how data about me could be used, can be used, how I can take control of that. So, welcome to the session. I've got amazing people to help us. In alphabetical order, Herman Betten is the Chief Corporate Affairs and Communication Officer at Flora Foods. Anindita Mehta, to my left, is the CEO of an amazing consumer advocacy organization in Ahmedabad, India. Zuhiratou Musa is the Outreach and Communications Manager at Anura Ntahbang in Cameroon. And Yu is the Global Head of Social Influence at TikTok. So we've got a great range of perspectives to help us through this. I'm going to start with Anindita and Zuhiratou. I painted a picture of my life trying to live, and I head Consumers International. I should know what I'm doing, and I still find it difficult. Tell me from your perspective, what do you see for consumers in Ahmedabad? How easy is it to find a healthy and sustainable diet? What's the reality?
So first of all, thank you for having me here today, EAT community, and very happy to be here. So answering your question, Helena, we see an increasing willingness for the consumer to access healthy food. They are talking about sustainability, they're talking about healthy diets. But there's still the issue of affordability, and value is the topmost on their minds. And the economic barrier is actually preventing them from accessing healthy diets. Availability is another factor that is a barrier for them. And of course, we see the knowledge barrier as well. People actually don't know what is a sustainable food or sustainable diet. They think about it as a very complex situation, but the knowledge part is missing. Also, the misinformation, the misleading advertisements, the information out there is not clear for the consumers. So these are the barriers, even though there is an intention, but there is a to-do gap between actually wanting to access healthier diets and actually consuming the diet. So that's the situation. It's both in terms of the digital platform as well as in the physical marketplace. Out of convenience now, people are venturing for digital and quick commerce marketing, but again, in both places, it is very difficult to access all the information, the basket of food that we are talking about, which is healthy, and the other things.
Zuhiratou, chime in.
Hello, everyone. So thanks for having me. I am a Bororo woman from the northwest region of Cameroon, and we are pastoralist indigenous community, and we depend entirely on our nature for our livelihood. But recently, due to development and climate change and environmental degradation, we are forced to go to the markets to buy food to sustain our families and our communities. And the reality is getting to the markets is a huge challenge because we live in very remote areas, which are extremely far from the markets. So sometimes we wake up very early in the morning and walk for hours and hours to going down hills and climbing up and going down just to get to the market. And you have to make sure that you get to the market on time so that you can have a variety of produce for you. And when a Boro woman gets to town to access these markets, they are coming with very small amount of money. So they are very poor. So you get to the market, and if you're early, the fresh-looking and good-looking produce are extremely expensive. You cannot afford that. So you end up buying what you can afford, and that is rice, beans, maize, and vegetables, fruits are not even going to end up in your basket, because if they are looking good and fresh and you can see that it's good, you cannot afford that. It's extremely expensive because the sellers also include their transport costs, the cost of bringing the produce to the market. So getting to the market is a huge challenge. Buying something that you actually want is a huge challenge.
So tell me, so Anindita, you work in an organization which makes sure we are able to give consumers voice about the issues we see and act on them. How do you do that in practice?
So consumer organizations are not just about spreading awareness, education, empowerment, and protection of consumers, but there are many areas where they're actually helping. They're forming a bridge between the grassroots consumers to the government organizations, to the regulatory authorities and businesses as well. We, as consumer organizations, bring in actual ground level research and the voice of consumers. Testing of food products is one of the areas where we convey the results for advocacy to policymakers, to the governments and businesses. We sit on important government consultative committees and continuously monitor government agencies as well, in terms of just an example that India's largest public distribution system, and we test for the commodities that are supplied through the system and keep giving the feedback to the government. So one way of monitoring is that we help in policy advocacy as well. Food Safety Standards Authority of India, we sit on their committees as well. So not just nationally, but as you know, CI globally is the collective voice of the consumers, bringing it to platforms such as the WHO, WTO, OECD, and the rest. So I think not just nationally, but internationally also, we bring the collective voice of the consumers.
Right. And Zuhiratou, how do you, as you lean in and change that system, what are the approaches that your organization is taking?
So Anura Ntahbang Women Initiative Group is a group of women who came out from the community and said we can no longer go to the markets to buy food, so we started our own community gardens. So we grow vegetables or fruits, and we have poultry. And Anura encourages people to grow their own food. And we recently got a fund from Agroecological Fund, which provided up to 60 women with organic seeds and fruits for vegetables, and also poultry for them. This has helped them to diversify their meals and encourage healthy and sustainable farming practices, so they don't have to go long distances. They can afford healthy food right now.
Fantastic. I'm going to come to you next, Herman. So, you've heard you serve consumers as a global business. You're in 110 markets. So, right, as you hear the challenges that we're facing, you know, with your access, surely you can make that happen, and you can help us.
We try every day. First of all, great to be here, and I do hope you enjoyed our dairy-free cheese that was on the salad during lunch. We call it Greek White. It's fantastic, and it's a good opportunity to show here what is possible as main partner of the Stockholm Food Forum. We, as Flora Food Group, and I always sometimes say we're the biggest company you haven't heard of, but pretty much everyone knows our brands in various countries. We're in over 110 markets. Here in Sweden, it's Mehta and Flora. In the US, it's Country Crock. And we have brands in every single country and jurisdiction which we sell in supermarkets. And our products are not consumed as such, like you're not sitting in front of the TV and you're emptying a tub of, I can't believe it's not butter. That's not what our products are made for. They're made to make other fresh meals. And it's great that we have this conversation here as about the consumer, because often in these conferences we have these abstract conversations about nudging people and all that stuff. But I want to talk about what I call the kitchen table reality, which is simply a hardworking mom or dad who goes to the supermarket, has 15 minutes to spend, 50 euros in his or her pocket, and needs to find food for the whole week that is fresh, that is nutritious, that is healthy, that doesn't break the bank, and also doesn't take too much time. And that's a big task. And then the information you get, if you can already afford it, is if you watch certain videos, you need to do this, you need to do that. That's why this Eat Lancet report is absolutely great. And we try to make our products as nutritious as possible for people to get these. Right? Our products are fat products, essentially. It's spreads, it's creams, it's cheeses. So we track also what is the nutritional composition of these, and does that align with what is needed. So for instance, we track our products according to the WHO standards on saturated fats. Now the good news is over 95% of our products meet that standard, which is great. Then you have other initiatives like AT&I that we also try to track, and not just track, but also discuss in the boardroom. Because at the end of the day, it's the consumer who buys our product, who pays my salary, and uses our products, and we need to provide that service. And in some countries, especially in Africa, it's more difficult for people to afford our products than in Europe, but also in Africa. We try to find ways to get this food to the people that need them, either through school feeding or other means, so that at the end of the day, people can enjoy our products, and what's more importantly, use those products to make that healthy meal.
How can we keep making sure that you're on track? How can we keep you accountable?
So for us as a multinational large, we have over 3 billion in revenues. You have things like AT&I, which I think is really good. That first of all, I don't know if Greg is in the room, but this is the pitch for AT&I. I think it's a good initiative, and it brings also it allows us to look at what is needed for us to change. How can we become even better? But if you are in other countries, you are a medium or small-sized food producer, you don't have the ability to engage with AT&I, you don't have your integrated annual report where you can, publish all these things. So we need to find different ways, and I think this is where maybe dietary guidelines can come in, or technology that can help also those manufacturers to track the content of their products, the nutritional value they provide, and whether or not the people who buy these products get what they need.
Fantastic.
It's not easy.
Yeah. Ara, TikTok, 1.5 billion users, is that right?
Yeah.
Consumers thereabouts? Okay, what's the right number?
Over a billion.
Over a billion, okay. So, really interested in your view on information about how we receive and engage with information about food. That's a big, big topic. And then what are you doing in that context to try and make sure we get the right information in the right way?
Thank you, Helena, and thank you everyone here. I know it's a second day on a Saturday after lunch with food coma, so appreciate you. I'd like to ask the audience here, who has TikTok? Raise your hand. Okay, so the rest of you who haven't raised your hand probably don't know what's the linkage and what's the relevance of TikTok and food. So let me tell you, the TikTok community, over 1 billion regular users, absolutely loves food. From recipes around how to cook a quick and easy cheap meal for your family, to local restaurant recommendations, to the day in the life of a farmer, the TikTok community can't get enough of food. And in fact, I'll give you one stat. Just last year, the amount of people who viewed the hashtag food, and I'm not talking about all the other derivatives of recipes or restaurant recommendations or any other language, just food, were viewed 300 billion views. Okay? In fact, more than 300. This is in one single language. So we can't get enough of it. And as a platform about discovery, where we've got so many people who are engaged in this topic area, we feel we're uniquely positioned to be part of these conversations around key critical global issues, like food security and healthy food. One of the approaches that we've been implementing over the past few years is this one called Trusted Messengers. And it's about bringing creators with incredible reach, millions of viewers, right, who know how to communicate, with experts, credible organizations, bringing them together, those with the knowledge and the depth with those with the reach, basically marrying them together. And this week, we've launched our global campaign called The Main Ingredient. We've piloted in Brazil on Tuesday, which is why I'm a bit jet-lagged. And it's all about basically onboarding 30 creators, most of them around food, but not only, from becoming isolated individuals to actually being structured around specific food, healthy food curricula. And this we're co-creating with EAT as a partnership because they've got the credibility, they've got the authority, and they've got the science behind it. So we co-create a curricula, we train these great food content creators around how to talk about food based on evidence. We've partnered with the Ministry of Social Development to be able to localize that to a Brazilian context. And we're also partnering with one of the biggest and most reputable hunger organizations, Ação da Cidadania, which means then we're going to launch this so that these creators can go and talk about food in an authoritative way. What do we do with this? Basically, we provide quality, authoritative information around what healthy food means. Second, we engage in conversations, debate, and bring communities together. And last, we want to make an impact on the health of individuals as well as planet. Just to say, today here, we've got 5 creators that we've brought to Stockholm Food Forum. Please stand up, our fabulous creators. And they're from Brazil, Indonesia, UK, and France. Between the 5 of them, they reach 9 million people.
Can I ask, because I'm clearly doing it wrong, because I'm getting a lot of how to crush up pasta and make it into mashed potato. Mm-hmm. Is that because I am being sent down a rabbit hole? Is that because there aren't enough creators who are doing this? Is that because we haven't got rules about social media influencers? Because I love what you're saying about how you bring the community together. Yeah. But fundamentally, what's the proportion of sort of the truly healthy information on there, stopping it getting taken, into a very different space, and making sure that I've got, the support to be able to cut that off when I'm getting a little bit too obsessed by the wrong things. Can you talk a little bit to that?
Well, we are a content hosting platform. Mm-hmm. As TikTok, we're not a content producing one. And the graph is not one of social graph, it's a content graph. But the balance that we have to strike as a platform is one of allowing people to share their stories and their lived experience with also promoting authoritative information. So on critical issues like climate, during COVID, mental health, and now on food, we want to be able to promote information that is authoritative and based on science.
So similar question as we posed to Herman. How do we hold you accountable, for making sure that the outcomes of this actually sort of correspond to what we're trying to fight for here?
So we partner not only with different ministries, as I mentioned, as well as civil society, but we will be engaging with academic institutions that look into our programs to evaluate the impact that we're having in terms of increasing understanding and behavior change.
Okay, perfect, thank you. We've got a little bit of time here now, so I'd love to sort of come back to you, Anindita and Zuhiratou. As you've listened to how food companies and information providers are talking about the food space, what do you think this will help solve the questions that you're experiencing in your local context? I don't want to.
From my context, from my point of view, it is already a challenge to get on TikTok because you need a lot of money to buy internet data to log into TikTok. But educating our community on healthy and sustainable food is really important. Not direct, they don't really get the information directly from social media, from TikTok. So it is our responsible as the organizations, as people who have studied and know the concepts to teach these people and then recommend them to look at videos on TikTok about food, about this topic. So it's our responsibility to educate them and show them the direction where they can get more information. Yeah.
So today what we see is, I'm not talking specifically of TikTok, but social media per se. The influencers are not actually scientific people. So when they are talking about food, so where is that accountability? How do, because there are very many types of information being shared in the media and on social media platforms. So the consumer is actually confused as to which ones are the right ones and which ones to not take up. So where does the onus lie? Who will take the responsibility and who will be accountable is one big question today.
Yeah, perfect. Hopefully all of you content creators will take on board the messages here from Eat and help us. And perhaps, some guidelines around social media influencing on food could be really powerful so that how do we move forward together and with consumers. As we head into the last 30 seconds of this panel, thank you so much. Let's listen, out of this, what is perhaps one word, one brief phrase about how we shift the food environment into default, being healthy and sustainable? What would be the one thing that you would look for from the conference here this weekend?
It has to be a collaborative effort. It's everyone's business, and hence collaborations between all the stakeholders that we have today or in the entire conference has to be the key.
Nice. Ara?
Meet people where they are.
Nice.
Indigenous crop seed banks. This would ensure that our crops are climate resistant and healthy and sustainable.
And Herman, the last word.
Real partnerships, because no one can do this alone.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you very much to Helena and